of the Lord.
Glory be to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Today we celebrate the life and martyrdom of Saint Thomas Becket. Again, we are celebrating a martyr in the octave of Christmas. Yesterday we remembered the holy innocents, the children who were slaughtered by Herod. Let us meditate on the nature of martyrdom. Let us think about what a wonderful and important resource is the life, the destiny, the witness of the martyrs is for the Church. Their radical turning to God really sheds light and offers us a liberation from the world in which we live in. How can we see the world? In two ways. The first is, and I'm using Sigmund Freud's theory of the death drive, to see the world as a closed system, locked upon itself and all what is inside it. The second way of seeing our world is when we turn to the martyrs and when we are joining their turning to God. And these two worlds are not simply black and white or opposite. No, they are connected. If I understand properly Freud's vision of the world, he says that every living creature, human beings, and everything what is living follows a drive, an inner instinct, which he calls the death drive. That's why he says that everything, despite their present life, everything is heading towards death, annihilation. Everything is governed by this death drive. Sooner or later, it's going to deconstruct every living organizations, let it be biological life or the life, organized life in society. And in his model, he says something very interesting. He says that there is no way of escaping the death drive. There is no way of getting rid of its power. There are only two options, that either that living creature or the human being turns against itself, that the death drive turns the person, the community, or that living organization against itself, and then it becomes self-destructive. We can see it in the life of people, in our own personal life. Or it finds an external target and it's channeled against something the outside. Someone makes the remark that that's the way how, for example, our capitalism works, that it needs to consume, it needs to find a resource, and in the end we are consuming more than we need, and in the end death drive is going to win, because resources will be exhausted and life is going to be brought to an end. But Freud calls this diversion of the death drive and investing into something more meaningful, Freud calls this force eros, a kind of love, eros, which wants to live. And instead of becoming self-destructive, the human being invests its life resources into colonizing something, discovering something, which is a more meaningful activity than self-destruction. Well, let's talk with the details. This is a very closed system. there is no hope in this view of the world for redemption. There is no liberation from the death drive. We are entrapped in Freud's system, or if we follow Freud's system, we are entrapped for good. And instead of redemption, there is only the postponement till the death drive will find a way that living organizations become self-destructive and in the end they die. In this model, in the best case, we are destroying not ourselves but our environment. And this model is very pessimistic because there is no human history in it, only we can speak of the history of the death drive, of death in the end. And that's why Freud's model is so valuable, because if we are honest with ourselves, if our world is cut off from God's life and grace, it is indeed exactly like this, the way in which he describes it. This model shows how our world looks like and lives without grace, without divine love. That's why our Christian witness is so important, that this is not the death drive which is the ultimate frame of our world. And we can think just of a frame of a picture like on our wall, that our world is not ending within these borders. No. There is a counterforce, a mysterious counterpower. Even if this life, this grace, which is beyond the frame of this world, is not perceived on the radar of the death drive. There is no way of recognizing divine love as the real drive of life. And with this, let us turn now to our actual feast. The witness of martyrs, like in our case, Saint Thomas Becket. Their decision to be faithful to Christ and give up their lives for Christ's sake, for Christ's justice, it's more convincing than any theoretical argument about death drives and anything else. When they said no to the spirit of this world, it wasn't simply a protest, but their yes embodied God's divine love. So it's not simply a protest, it's not simply a moral commitment to God's cause, but their very yes, their very martyrdom embodied that divine love and made manifest it in the world, which is the liberation of the closed world which Freud describes. And the Christian witness, including the daily martyrdom of ordinary Christians, and daily martyrdom, by daily martyrdom I mean those who are on our sick list, who are carrying daily pain, physical pain or moral pain, or a moral decision. So the Christian witness, the Christian martyrdom, it opens up a window on our closed world. This is the stake of our daily martyrdom, when we say yes to divine love. So in theory, and we have to be honest with ourselves, in theory, if there was enough witness to divine love embodied in the life of people in our lives, in theory, the power of death drive, which captures this world and grounds this world, in theory, this power could be weakened and made weaker and weaker. If people lived in an open life to God's offer, our world would be far, far more different. But this if is there. That's why is our world where it is. And yet, the martyrs of the Church are motivating us. They are a great inspiration. Paradoxically, the life of the martyrs, which is the seed of the present life of the Church and the future life, it is so easily overlooked. We only think about their suffering and death for Christ, and we stop at that level. That's why I try to widen our picture, that the most precious currency, divine currency, is the life of the martyrs, their witness. And they are inspiring us that we shouldn't accept this if, that if we lived better, more open to divine love, the world would be a better place. In their vocabulary there is no if, and this is what they want to teach us, that we can live according to that ultimate yes.